Thank you for tuning into another video from JRM Recaps. Spoilers ahead. The film begins with Max Rockatansky explaining in a voiceover that he was once a police officer and road warrior, and is currently traveling across apocalyptic Australia, running from tormenting reflections of his dead spouse and child, as well as others he was unable to save. As he is positioned on a ridge gazing around, a two-headed reptile creeps close to Max and he tramples it prior to eating it. He drives off and is immediately chased after by a gathering of scavengers called the War Boys, all pale and covered in blisters because of radiation illness. They pursue Max through the desert and make him crash before they catch him. The War Boys take Max to their hideaway in the Citadel, an arrangement of caverns in a very tall plateau. They shave his head and face. They tattoo his back with a notification saying he is a universal blood donor, type O negative, planning to utilize him as a blood supply. They cover the lower part of his face with an iron mask and almost brand him with a picture of a skull immersed in fire, but he manages to escape and flees from the War Boys. The pursuit through the cavern shows that the Citadel is very large and has an adequate water supply as well as greenhouse. As he runs, Max keeps on seeing images of the dead before he comes to an exit high above the ground. He leaps out and locks onto a swinging hook, however he continues to swing back toward the War Boys and they figure out how to pull him back into the passage. In the Citadel, there is a huge body of survivors lorded over by the head of the War Boys, Immortan Joe. Joe wears a monstrous face mask made of horse teeth set in a big set of jaws, with air hoses connected to a bellows system on his back to assist him with breathing. As he tends to a group on the ground underneath the Citadel, he supplies individuals with some water, making everybody go crazy in battle for it once Joe turns it off following a couple of moments. He warns individuals not to become dependent on water so they don't go distraught over its non-appearance. Joe then sends his commander, Imperator Furiosa, out in a tremendous war truck to gather fuel from Gas Town, with an escort of War Boys and more compact vehicles. Furiosa has a metal prosthesis in place of her lower left arm and hand. Traveling on the road, Furiosa redirects from the way to Gas Town, seen as a far-off group of oil refineries, and goes east. Joe is made aware of the diversion and rushes to the locked chambers where he keeps his 5 spouses, young ladies chosen to breed his offspring. They have all left, and words drawn on the walls saying our children will not be warlords and who killed the world. An elderly person lets Joe know that he can't own a human. Furiosa is removing the group of ladies from Joe, provoking him to round up the War Boys and pursue her. All the War Boys are anxious to join the pursuit, yet one called Nux is so frail to the point that he requires a blood bank, and that implies that Max comes for the ride. He is tied to Nux and connected to the driver by means of a central line transfusion tube. The War Boys think that Immortan Joe can help them get to the gates of Valhalla, so Nux will take a chance with death in service to his commander. The War Boys drive after Furiosa's war truck, which is assaulted by another scavenging clan, the Buzzards. Nux binds Max to the hood of his vehicle like a figurehead on a boat and enthusiastically pursues Furiosa along with the others. They endeavor to draw near to the truck, however Furiosa shakes the vast majority of them off, the War Boys helping the fight with spears that have explosive tips. Nux draws near to the truck as Max tries to break free. Furiosa heads toward a colossal approaching dust storm. Nux keeps on pursuing her, even as they head into dangerous sand cyclones. A couple of War Boys are killed in the storm, while Nux plots a kamikaze run by spilling the gas inside his vehicle. He intends to set it on fire with a flare when Max is able to successfully stop him. The two eventually crash in the storm. Max wakes up to find he is still tied to an unconscious Nux still wearing his mask. He snatches a shotgun and attempts to shoot off Nux's wrist, but the weapon misfires. He notices Furiosa's truck and heads there, finding 5 gorgeous ladies, the splendid Angharad, Toast the Knowing, Capable, Cheeto the Fragile, and the Dag, washing themselves off with a hose and taking off their chastity belts with bolt cutters. Splendid is 9 months pregnant with Joe's kid, and Dag is also pregnant with another of his children. Max focuses the shotgun at the group of ladies and commands for the hose. He drinks, then tells them to utilize the cutters to remove his chain. Dag attempts to cut it but can't break it. Furiosa can see Joe far off and that he has found reinforcements from different towns that supply fuel and ammo to the Citadel. The oncoming group is commanded by the People Eater and the Bullet Farmer. Max and Furiosa battle as he attempts to cut the chain that attaches him to Nox. Nox awakens and assists Max with battling Furiosa, who is helped by the group of ladies. Nox breaks the chain and Max attempts to steal the truck for himself. However, it breaks down in light of the fact that Furiosa fitted the truck with a kill switch and only she knows how to get it running again. Max allows her back on the truck, but he does not wish to take the group of other ladies. Furiosa demands that they go along, as she is directing them to an area she calls the Green Place. At the point when Furiosa makes sense that Joe's gratitude toward Max will most likely be a gradual, agonizing death, Max yields and they head out in the war truck, while Nux sneaks on board. He disengages the brake line to the fuel trailer, slowing down the truck. Max climbs out on the truck and reconnects the line. During this leg of the pursuit, Max is able to eliminate his face mask with a file provided to him by Furiosa. Furiosa drives the truck into a ravine where she has an agreement with a gathering of biker raiders. They will close the passage behind her with a rock slide to block off her chasers in return for the 3,000 gallons of gas in the trailer pod. She shows Max the order of buttons to bypass the kill switch, then asks for his name. He would rather not tell her, so she says, "When I yell fool, drive out of here fast." They see Joe and his group getting closer. Furiosa gets out and yells to the bikers that she's brought the 3,000 gallons of gas, as agreed upon, and that she will disconnect the trailer. One of the bikers decries that she said there would be a couple of followers, however there are 3 huge gatherings. Furiosa, evading to put the truck between herself and the bikers, shouts fool, and is able, between bullets, to climb back on as Max drives the truck away. Even though she never disconnected the gas trailer, the bikers explode the bridge, briefly stopping Joe from pursuing them. As they speed away, Furiosa and Max battle off the biker raiders with their personal abilities and marksmanship. Immortan Joe, in his big-wheeled, all-terrain vehicle, is able to move over the fallen rocks. He is joined by Nox, who shows that Splendid is on Furiosa's truck with a piece of clothing he had taken from her. Another pursuit takes place through the desert. The war boys continue to try to overtake the truck while Joe gets closer. He tries to take shots at the truck until Splendid comes out as a human shield, and Joe can't do a thing without harming his potential child. Nux tries to help Joe, who sprays chrome paint on Nux's mouth with the pledge of leading him to the doors of Valhalla in the event that Nux is successful. Very quickly, Nux loses his weapon before Joe, who keeps driving with dismay. Splendid attempts to climb back to the front of the truck, yet she tumbles off and is run over by Joe's vehicle. The group of ladies advise Max to turn around, but when he tells Furiosa that Splendid went under the wheels, Furiosa says they need to continue onward. The others weep for Splendid. Behind them, Joe shouts in fury while holding Splendid's body. Nux slips once more into the truck with the vow of assisting the group of ladies with eluding Joe. He lies on the floor, troubled that he has failed Joe once more and has lost his possibility of enlisting in his personal army. Capable does her best to comfort him. At the front, Furiosa tells Max of the Green Place and how she was taken from it as a kid. As they keep traveling through the night, the truck becomes caught up in a big field of mud. The Bullet Farmer is not far behind them. Max takes shots at him yet misses, and afterward Furiosa has a clean shot, taking out the Bullet Farmer's lights and blinding him. Nux proposes they join the truck's winch cable to a tree close by and pull the truck forward. In the interim, Joe's lieutenant, the organic mechanic, grabs Splendid's body as she is close to death, and he removes the infant out of her abdomen. The child is dead as well, yet he lets Joe know that it was a boy. Joe tells his grown-up son Rictus that he had a sibling. Rictus shouts proudly. The group of ladies keep attempting to push the truck out of the mud while Max goes out to confront the Bullet Farmer himself. A couple of blinding gleams of explosions are seen far off in the haze, and he returns in practically no time with the Bullet Farmer's blood on his face, alongside a decent stockpile of weapons and ammunition. In the morning, the truck comes up to a tower where a bear lady, the Valkyrie, is shouting for help. Max believes it is a trap, however Furiosa ventures out and tells the Valkyrie her mom's name and her connection with this group. The Valkyrie descends the tower and puts on a robe. More elderly ladies, the Vuvolini, arise. The oldest, keeper of the seeds, remembers Furiosa. Furiosa lets them know that she is taking the group of ladies from the citadel to the green place, however keeper of the seeds notifies her that the muddy swamp they went through is the green place, and has long since become unlivable land. Furiosa walks into the sand and falls to her knees, shouting in anguish. The Vuvolini consent to assist the group of ladies from the citadel with a ride across the salt flats to find a new home. Max, still very troubled by the images of his child and significant other, chooses to assist the group of ladies with returning to the citadel since Joe's vegetation and water supply are presently unprotected. They additionally plan to trap Joe and his army in the ravines. They ride back towards the citadel. Joe sees them with his telescope and knows exactly what their scheme is. He assembles his army and gives pursuit. The Vuvolini begin to assist with the battle. The Valkyrie takes shots at the war boys while protecting one of her own until she is run over. Max and Furiosa kill a portion of the war boys, while Max gets Joe to kill the People Eater by utilizing him as a human shield. Keeper of the Seeds is killed as well when one of the war boys slices her neck. Toast is caught by Joe and kept prisoner. Furiosa is stabbed on Joe's vehicle and becomes more frail as Joe and Rictus gain on them. Toast occupies Joe long enough to allow Furiosa a chance to attach Joe's mask onto the wheels of his vehicle. She snarls, "Remember me," to him as the wheels rip the mask apart and a portion of Joe's face off, killing him. The truck then, at that point, heads for the ravine, with Rictus still attempting to stop them. The group of ladies get off securely while Nux expresses farewell to Capable and steers against the ravine, sacrificing himself to kill Rictus and bring down the bridge to stop Joe's army. Traveling back to the citadel, Furiosa's lungs almost collapse. Max pokes a little hole in her side to give her air. She begins to pass out, and Max gives her a transfusion of his own blood. He at last tells her his name as she shuts her eyes. They make it back to the citadel. Max shows the people Joe's mouthless dead body, making everybody cheer. They rip Joe's dead body to pieces and feed off him. The water supply is brought out, giving the people as much water as necessary. Furiosa rises and evidently becomes the new leader. She and Max again recognize each other with respect before he sneaks off into the crowd to keep going on his own path. Thank you for watching our recap. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for future videos. Also, try some of our other videos displayed on screen.